Hello and welcome back for the start of Chapter 2. This is going to be the last series of videos before we pick back up in class on Tuesday for Chapter 3 and Thursday for Chapter 4. So hopefully you've had no problems with the syllabus review or the Chapter 1 and introduction videos. If you have, please make sure you let me know and I will make sure to get you the links so we're not behind come Tuesday. So, with that being said, we are getting started, or continuing, I should say, with Chapter 2. We're still working in the physical wellness dimension, and this is just the second portion of it, which is the nutrition aspect. If you remember back to Chapter 1 was the exercise portion of the physical wellness dimension, and Chapter 2 is now the nutrition aspect. So, with that being said, we're going to take it back here to our basic pinwheel. Okay, remember I said that we're going to see this at the beginning of every chapter. So remember that the overall key is going to be a nice balance of these 8 dimensions. Not one of them is any more important than the other one, so a nice good balance. And then you can see as the pinwheel is illustrating, we're still on the physical aspect. So the big thing that I want to start with, and this is a concept that is sometimes very lost when we start talking about the nutritional side of it, is that eating is very essential to our overall health. Okay, there's a lot of different sources that our foods come from. There's a lot of different nutrients that our body needs in order to function and meet the demands that we place on it. And the biggest ones that we're going to talk about are the macro and micronutrients. Okay, that's kind of how this chapter is broken down into macro and micronutrients. And then we talk about everything kind of in between there. So both of them are needed for our growth. Okay, they're needed for the repair and synthesis of our tissues. They regulate our body process, and obviously they help provide energy, so we're able to complete our daily routines. So we're going to start with the macronutrients, and the very first macronutrient we're going to talk about is carbs. All right, carbs, and you can see in the blue lettering on the slideshow. This is going to be on the exam. Carbs are the main source of fuel for our body. All right, so the main source of fuel for our body, they are very important when it comes to our actual diet and how we consume them. All right, there's 2 different types of carbs, both simple and complex. I'm going to skip the complex carbs for now and let's go ahead and jump down to the simple carbs. These simple carbs are they don't have a lot of nutrition to them, so they have very little nutritive value. That's why they're considered empty calories. These are the carbs that we want to limit. These are things like our jellies, our sugars, our donuts, our sodas, or our pop that some of you may call our table sugar, our cakes, things along those lines. Usually the things that we crave and the things that are really good and we enjoy, but we want to try to limit them. Notice I said limit them, and I didn't say completely cut them out of your diet. And we'll talk more about that a little bit later. The other type of carb is the carb that's listed first, and these are the complex carbs. The complex carbs are the carbs that we want to have the majority of our daily carbohydrate intake should be our complex carbs. These are a little bit healthier for us. These are things like our breads, our grains, our pastas, our cereals, our potatoes. Those are all examples of good complex carbs that we should have in our diet, and the majority of our carbs should come from those sources. I want to further break down complex carbs into 2 different types, and the 2 types are non-digestible and digestible complex carbs. So the very first one I want to talk about, and I'm going to switch slides and I'll come back to this, is fiber. Fiber is a non-digestible complex carb. All right, fiber is going to help us with relieving and preventing constipation. Kind of think of it as it keeps our system nice and clear. It clears everything out. We consume food, our body processes it, and our body eliminates it via urine or a bowel movement. So fiber is going to help with relieving and preventing constipation. There's a lot of other benefits of having a good fiber. It's also going to help promote weight control by leaving us with that nice full feeling. Okay, you might be thinking, what foods are good for fiber? Okay, what foods are high with fiber? Sorry, I have to find that slide. maybe I took it out. The foods that are high in fiber are going to be foods, that crack or have like a snap sound when you consume them or when you try to break them in half. So things like broccoli and green peppers and cabbage and apples. There's some exceptions to that. Bananas are high in fiber, sprouts are high in fiber, spinach is high in fiber. So, not all foods that snap, but that's kind of a good indicator if things that snap when you break it in half are generally speaking high in fiber. Your textbook, and I'll try to find the page for you for that, has a good list. It's on page 75. Okay, page 75 of your textbook has a good solid list of a bunch of foods that are high in fiber if you feel like you need to get a little bit more fiber into your diet. Okay. The second macronutrient, okay, so the first macronutrient were our carbs. Our second macronutrient are going to be our fats. Our fats are the main source of stored fuel for our body. Okay, so unlike carbs, where carbs are the main source of fuel for our body, fats are our main source of stored fuel for the body. So if you remember when we talked about the energy systems back in chapter 1, how there's the 3 different energy systems, and we talked a lot about how there's only one of them that uses fats, okay? That's why this is important. This is going to provide energy for us during our exercise. There's a lot of other things that it helps us do. It helps us regulate our body temp. It helps us repair cells. It provides a cushioning for some of our vital organs, those organs that cannot be damaged. And a lot of times fats will help satisfy hunger because the digestion is a little bit slower. Okay, so why do we like fat? Okay, we like fat because it adds a lot of flavor and texture to a lot of the foods that we eat. Okay. So kind of like how we had with our complex carbs and our simple carbs, we have different divisions of them. We have different divisions of fats, all right? There are 4 main types of fats, and these will be on the exam, so make sure that you're kind of familiar with this chart and you understand the breakdown of fats. And we're going to break the 4 fats down into both good fats and bad fats. And naturally, I want to start with the good stuff. So we're going to start with what fats are good for you. Fats that are good for you, an easy way to remember it, are going to be fats that are unsaturated. Okay, so you can see in the chart there's saturated fats, there's trans fats, there's polyunsaturated, and then there's monounsaturated. Those last 2, those unsaturated fats, are deemed our good fats. All right, you'll see in the very first row though, the common denominator in those 2 fats are going to be that they are found in plants. Okay, they are found in plants. And good fats, why they're good for us, is because they're going to lower our LDL or our bad cholesterol, and they're going to increase our HDL or our healthy cholesterol. And we're going to talk more about the cholesterol on the next couple of slides. All right, and then you can see obviously there's some examples there at the very bottom. Over on the left side of the chart, the bad fats, the saturated fats, and the trans fatty acids, these are, generally speaking, fats are going to be found in animal products. Okay, these are going to be fats that elevate our bad cholesterol or our LDL cholesterol, and they increase our HDL. Again, they're going to be fats that are found in a lot of like our margarines, our cookies, our donuts, our fried foods, our red meats, our chocolates, things along those lines. So bad fats are good fats. Our bad fats increase our bad cholesterol, and our good fats decrease our bad cholesterol. So that's how you can decipher between the 2. I mentioned a lot on the last slide about cholesterol. So here's a little bit more of a better description, or I guess explanation, of cholesterol and what it is. Cholesterol is a fat-like waxy substance found in animal products. Okay, our liver also produces cholesterol, and there's 2 different types of cholesterol. Like I mentioned, there's our HDL and there's our LDL. Our HDL, which is our good cholesterol, is going to go ahead and carry cholesterol from the blood back to the liver, and then the liver prepares to eliminate it from the body via urine. Our LDL cholesterol is going to carry the cholesterol from the liver to the rest of the body. Okay, once that cholesterol keeps building up, building up, building up. And then obviously once we get too much cholesterol, that is what leads to some of our heart diseases that we also talked about in chapter 1 that could be very fatal, and obviously not good for us. So we will chat more about the cholesterol in chapter 10, but it is important for us to understand that there's 2 different cholesterol levels. We're also going to touch on this once we get into the when we do the blood unit and you go and get your blood drawn from the lab, which there'll be more about that in the future. And then our last macronutrient, this is going to be the last thing that we're going to leave off with for this video, is the third macronutrient, and that is protein. Okay, protein does not provide immediate energy for our body. Rather, we like to think of it as the building block for the body. Okay, so it is it helps to grow the muscles, it helps maintain the muscle, it helps repair the muscles and the tissues. So think about when you're lifting or when you're in a intense workout routine. As you're building those muscles muscles are getting real small micro tears in them. Okay, something has to build those muscles back together. That's the job of the protein. Okay, I want to take your attention down to about halfway down the slide, the second to last bullet point, and it talks about the amino acids. Certainly we know by now there's 20 amino acids that make up a protein, and we have to consume at least 9 of those via our daily foods. Okay, so a lot of people will try to take protein supplements to make up for this, the building, to act as a building block for the body, but we have to consume 9 of them in our food. So a supplement alone is not going to do the job when it comes to protein in your diet. You have to consume some foods with protein in them. Okay, protein is found in a variety of foods. It is found in meats, chicken, milk. Fish is really high in protein. Eggs are really high in protein. A lot of our whole grains have a lot of protein in them. And then wrapping up with like our seeds, our nuts, our pastas, our peas, and our beans. Okay, so a lot of different options when it comes to proteins and how to get those into your diet. So that is where I am going to leave off for this first video. Okay, so again, another smaller video for you. I will wrap up with, I think there's going to be 2 more videos in chapter 2. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know if you have any problems with it, and I will be back with the last 2 videos shortly. All right, have a great day.